I can't believe it, boys. All right, everybody. Welcome into Around the Felt, episode number 69. I could not be more excited to do it with my three friends tonight. Are you guys happy that we're 69ing tonight together?
I'll tell you what, I am pretty pumped up to be here, Reagan. I'm excited to get into some college basketball.
Hell yeah. A great tournament so far. We're already at the Sweet 16, and boy, has it been sweet. Are your brackets still alive, everybody? Anyone busted?
Yeah, I'm
Um,
perfect right now.
Oh, all right, Drock.
Nah, I'm kidding.
Did you
I
do
was
that one in
busted.
pencil?
I no, I just did auto draft. I mean, I did the auto picks for like 35 brackets, so I'm looking really good right now. Actually, shout out Brian Bednarz. He's a loyal follower. He almost had a perfect bracket up until I forget which game it was, but he missed one game. One game. That's
Yeah,
insane.
I could take a guess. Probably Northwestern FAU since he kept commenting owls.
Yeah, no, he did a similar thing. He just did the auto picks for whatever ESPN like generates for him, and he somehow like scrolled through his brackets the other day and he saw one bracket that was almost perfect. Insane.
That's nuts. Yeah, I had a perfect bracket in the women's through the first day, so I was hyped about that. Getting 16 right. I'm like, fuck, if I put that in a parlay. Although Pop
you'd
Tart
be
made
a
a good
winner.
point. He was like, you weren't gonna throw South Carolina at who would have been. I don't even know if they would even have a money line thing. The spread was 56.5 points. So yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, me and my buddy Ronnie have been throwing on any underdog, and after round one, we were throwing after round one, we were up about like 6.5, 7 units. And
Really?
yeah, it didn't let us take any one seeds over 16s. So take all of those out. We were unable to take those. We were up like 7 units after the round of 64. Kind of got smacked a little bit in the round of 32. I think we went down like
I
around like
wanted,
7 or 8 units
No,
in the round of 32.
I don't after round one.
yeah, we were
Well,
up 14 units
yeah,
after
we're up
round one.
14
You're up
units. Yeah,
14.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, we did miss. We missed the first 3 games in it, which
that's why
one of the underdogs did hit in that. But
Yeah,
we
Duquesne.
three in the
also
first four hit. No,
no, well, no, Michigan State was the
Oh,
first
oh,
first one, but they were a favorite in that game.
we
So
also took the play-in games also.
we did not take plans, so
But
that's
that only would
probably
have
what it was.
added like a unit for us because it went 2 of 2 on the dogs. So that only added like 1 unit for us. But still,
Well, I probably need to hop on your book then because it sounds like they got better odds. But all
yeah,
right,
we don't no free promotions here. That information will not be disclosed to the general public.
yeah, we're not sponsored by DraftKings, FanDuel, or any of those books out there because around the
Fuck
felt,
that, John.
around the felt sports books coming out live. Breaking news.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Well, I mean, I guess all of our teams are alive. I said Illinois before the tournament. I'm curious, who did you guys say before the tournament?
I before the tournament, I had Houston, but I'll get into it a little bit later. I no longer have Houston winning this tournament based on what I've seen, but we'll get into that.
Okay, so your brackets, you're still
Bracket's
alive in your
still
pools if you have
alive,
Houston. Yeah.
still alive, but if I had the chance to change it, I would.
Yo, handsome, bottom right corner. Who you got?
I'll take it from here.
I'm
I'll
not.
take it
I'm
from
not.
here now.
I ain't handsome. I know that.
Wait,
So I ain't
Kick
saying
it,
that.
Baldy. Kick it.
Garrett's bottom right in my corner. Is
Yeah.
Baldy bottom right?
Yeah,
No.
I ran with the Tar Heels this year. I mean, easy game first round. Then they rolled through Zach's boys round two.
All right, let's pipe it
I mean
down a little
now
bit.
is the real test, but I like them coming in a lot. They were probably like the fourth most picked team, so not the heavy favorite, but I'm still feeling really confident.
Yeah, that game had to be my biggest like whomping of the tournament. I mean, they just freaking wiped the floor with Michigan State. Just
I can't
Well, I
embarrassing for
imagine
the
mean,
school.
all
going
right,
Just
to
all
school
right,
and
all
watching
right.
that,
Wipe the
watching that at a
floor in the
bar with all
second
your
half. In
boys.
the second half, yeah. That game definitely got out of hand pretty quickly there. Once UNC went on that big run like midway through the first half, and then there was really just no turning back. That was a tough one to watch for me. So we can move on. Next.
Dave, who'd you have? UConn, right?
Yeah, I was one of these guys. I was a square better. I mean, square better bracket picker. I did take UConn. They're still alive, boys. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's sick.
That
yeah.
was a rectangle though, Drock, just to let you know, but All right.
Sorry,
Hey, I mean,
just-
good for you. Good for
There we
you,
go.
Drock. You'll get 18th place in your bracket pool after taking UConn. That's awesome. But hey, at least you got the winner right.
Yeah, thank you so much. I did have some upsets in my bracket that I actually picked correctly. So
But that, I mean, I respect it, but that's the thing. Like, there's like, I'm not trying to be a dick, but there's 0 point in taking UConn. Whether or not they win, like, you're not going to win your bracket pool. You have to be
Well,
so freaking
I
good.
had Yale.
Well,
I
take it
did have
from
Yale.
I will say, look at it from a different perspective here. If you don't take UConn and they win, you're not winning your bracket either. So like, if they're gonna win, you need to have them to win. You know?
Yeah, well, yeah, but you got to be good. And I
But
don't
yes,
trust
yes,
myself
yes.
enough in March, so I'm like, you know what? I'd rather take the shot on another team because I
Yeah,
know
you're basically gambling. You're basically gambling that this team has a better shot of winning than me picking a better bracket than 30
Yeah.
other people with the same champ. Which
I took Illinois.
know,
I was like, dude, there's no way I'm gonna have a good. Like, I'm like, I know like a third of the pool is gonna take UConn. Like, ideally, UConn's gonna win. They look like the best team right now. But I'm like, you know what? There's zero chance I'm better than or top 3 out of the other 30 that take them, and I'm just gonna be pissed off and be like, oh, I got the winner right. But because honestly, with the UConn pick, it comes down to who you have in the final because that's the big tiebreaker there because you get so many damn points for having that right. So really, I don't, Dave. Who did you have UConn beating?
I had
Yeah, I guess I could tell you auto picked it.
Duke.
Duke. Okay, so
I like
that's
that. I like
good.
that a
Yeah,
lot.
that's
I like that a
good.
lot
So
because
you're a
my
Duke fan,
problem,
honestly.
Yeah,
my
it's in
problem
the
here,
board.
like, sorry, go on, Druck.
If you sorry, just real quick, if you're an avid listener to Around the Felt Sports, Drock has Duke in his blood, so I'm bleeding blue. So, I had one of my grandfather went to Duke, so I'm technically a Duke. So yeah,
Coward. I mean, the fact that you didn't have him winning. If I was your fucking
Yeah.
grandpa, I would bend you over and spank the shit out of you for that.
Yeah, I would.
I mean, come on,
I
Dave.
would take away that Kurzrock last name if I'm getting copy Drock. I'm telling you that much.
Yeah. I guess next season we'll spin it around the Duke, but for this year I
You're
got
lucky he
UConn
doesn't
rocking.
smack the hairline off of you. I mean, that's just disrespectful. You gotta, I mean, come on, dude. Your grandpa went to Duke and you didn't take him winning at all. Like, even Pop Tart rides with Kentucky every year. If Duke's your boys, you got to take them every year.
Yeah, I'll factor that in next year for sure.
Oh, what's the kid you said your grandpa reached out to your grandpa, Ryan Young?
Yeah,
The GPA booster. That
yeah, the GPA boost. Yeah, I guess
He's
he
been
does work.
playing though. He's been
No,
playing.
he's not. No, he's not. Like
Dude,
5 minutes.
Yeah, but you called him a GPA booster. Like he's getting in.
He's
not
getting on
in.
the court when they're up by 20 within the
No,
last
dude.
5 minutes.
He was in the
The
first
GPA
half.
boosters. The GPA booster is more the guy that doesn't get on the court, who likes to practice with the team, and they're like, "Oh, that's my teammate," but the guy's not their actual teammate. I don't
mean,
know.
he's
If
cla-
that
He
he's
played
cla-
15 minutes against JMU. I mean, maybe that's because it was a blowout, but he was in like that's no GPA booster. I mean,
How
I
many
guess
minutes?
he played 2 against Vermont, but then like earlier on, he played 19 against UNC in the ACC or before the ACC tournament. So
How many minutes
He-
did Filipowski rack up against JMU Reagan? I mean, I know they won by like almost 40. So
he ended up he played 21, so that could
Yeah,
factor
alright.
into
Yeah,
his
that makes
his
sense.
management there. But still, he ain't no GPA booster.
Let me tell you this much. He's definitely practicing his handshakes more on the bench than he is actually focusing up on his starting time. So, yeah. I'm shitting on Duke. I don't know why I'm doing this. I love this guy.
yeah, how did this? Yeah, I mean, all right.
Dave's backstory behind it is the asshole himself decided to wish Dave's grandpa a happy birthday, and Dave's having none of that.
Yeah, fuck that guy. Get off the bench, man. Don't wish my grandpa a happy birthday.
Yeah,
It's too
yeah,
funny.
exactly. So
All right, guys. So let's get into the bracket a little bit before we get into the Sweet 16. Let's kind of talk about the round of 64, the round of 32. We might as well start with the East region. I mean, obviously, I'd say it was pretty chalk for the most part. The only big surprise was obviously Yale knocking out Auburn. A lot of people saw those graphics and all those stats, and I know a bunch of people ended up taking Auburn because of all the metrics and stuff. But damn, that game was awesome. Yale was sick. That game came down to the wire, and Auburn just couldn't make their shots. But that kid, Polakidis, I'm probably butchering his name, but he was on fire. And then obviously Danny Wolf, he's a stud too. So good game out of them overall. But that had to be shocking to you guys as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I know that Auburn team, I think their coach is like the fourth highest paid coach in college basketball or fifth or something like that.
Yeah, Bruce Pearl.
That guy's getting paid. I mean, I know they just won that SEC championship, but I don't know if you're getting the bag like that, a first round exit to Yale definitely isn't sitting right with them over there. That one has to be tough to swallow.
Yeah, I mean Auburn was such a square pick. Like if you took Auburn, you're just a dumbass, and that's probably why you're too afraid to come on this podcast tonight. If you took them winning your bracket, Colin.
I don't know
Um,
anything about basketball. I hate basketball.
I mean, in fairness, he doesn't. He took Auburn. His team got knocked out in the first round. So
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
rough one. I
yeah.
mean, the only like first round exit team that you picked that I maybe like can someone give you the benefit of the doubt would have been Kentucky because I know they're gonna have like two players drafted in like the top five and they have a ton of talent. That one was that upset I didn't really see coming, but Auburn, yeah, I don't know about that one. Sorry, Colin.
yeah, and obviously, like you said, Reed Shepard and Rob Dillingham. Those guys are going to be lottery picks for sure, and both could go top five. So, but yeah, so that was the big one there, and then it was kind of chalk. I mean, obviously, UConn dominated San Diego State. They had an interesting matchup with UAB early on, but then they dominated Yale. Illinois walked through Morehead State and Duquesne's. I mean, I guess Duquesne's beat BYU, but honestly, fuck BYU. I don't know if you guys heard about it before the tournament, but they requested to not play on Sunday. Like they did not want to be on a Sunday game, and that actually affected their seed line, where they would have been a team that could have been a 4 or 5 seed, but because they requested that seed or to not play Sundays, that affected their seed line, bumping them to a 6. And funny enough, they lost anyway. It didn't matter, but it would have sucked for a team like Illinois, where
Hmm.
you're really not playing a 6. You'd be playing a 4 or 5 at that point in the second round.
Yeah. I mean, good thing for them that that they got bumped out there, I guess.
Yeah, see Zach Wilson and the Mormons.
Yeah.
And
Let's
then
get them out of here.
yeah, and then obviously Washington State and Iowa State. That game was close early on, but honestly, the 4 teams that made it through between UConn, Illinois, San Diego, and Iowa State, they've all looked pretty dominant. It'll be interesting. I'm really excited for that finals rematch between San Diego and UConn.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if San Diego State will be able to keep this game close with UConn. I mean, they haven't skipped a beat since the tournament last year, so I'm excited to see what San Diego State's able to do there. But that round of 32 was just straight chalk in the East region. I mean, blowout after
Yeah,
blowout.
for sure. All right, so let's get to the East now. North Carolina kind of handled business. Michigan State took care of Mississippi State. Game was close early on. I honestly thought Michigan State was going to win, and I think the worst, probably the worst, one of the worst betting beats I've ever seen was some guy had Michigan State first to 30, and they were up 28-16, and then UNC ended up cashing that bet. So I was like,
Yeah,
fucking
that's a tough one.
gambling. And then St. Mary's got fucking whomped by Grand Canyon. That was a total miss on my part. I had St. Mary's in my final four, so call me a dumbass. Total wolf there. Um,
I had them pretty
Alabama.
far too.
Oh, you had St. Mary's going far too?
Yeah, dude, they've had good runs in the past, but losing in the first round really, that was my biggest loss in the first round, to be honest.
Yeah, and I had a feeling that was the one team where I was like, they're either going super far if I don't take them, and then if I do take them, because I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna trust my gut, and I knew it. If I didn't take them, they probably would have been on a run, but whatever. And then Clemson as a 6 seed actually came in as an underdog, funny enough, and they whomped New Mexico. That was kind of one of the top picks I saw. I was big on New Mexico. I had them in my Elite Eight.
Guilty here as well. I mean, Clemson's burnt me twice now this tournament. So
Yeah. So New Mexico, the school Charlie and George go to, #not. But yeah, their rivals couldn't do shit. Everyone just kind of bought into what they saw in the Mountain West. And honestly, speaking of the Mountain West, they just keep proving they're frauds. I mean, the fact that they sent 6 teams and they only have one left in the Sweet 16, it's just such a fraudulent conference. And that's kind of why none of them got rewarded with the seed lines. And the one that did, San Diego State, still alive, not for long. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and call for San Diego State to win. And then Baylor took care of Colgate, and then Clemson, like we said, somehow took care of business. I kind of want to keep doubting them, but something tells me maybe they'll upset Arizona. And
I mean,
then
Arizona just played a close one with Dayton too. So I mean, they proved that. I mean, they just show that they're not invincible by any means.
no. But then again, the script writers like it's rigged, right? Like I feel like come because both those games are Thursday, so come Saturday when we're looking at the board and we're like it's Arizona, North Carolina, we're gonna be like we're fucking dumbasses. The same way I felt after Taylor Swift and the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. I was like, we're fucking dumbasses. The script was there. The script is here for it. North Carolina, Arizona is a lock.
Yeah, that'll be a fun
The-
game to watch too. I wanna see that one badly.
Yeah. And I feel like we got to do a parlay on Arizona, North Carolina. You probably will get it to plus 100, I'd say. And that just seems like a lock because at the end of the day, the script, what's better for ratings? I know it's not rigged, but
If
is it?
they play though, one piece of gambling advice, do not take the prop that DraftKings is gonna throw out there. They're gonna throw out there a little prop and boost it up to plus 150 for both of them to drop like 12 points. Guess what? One of them's not gonna drop 12. It's gonna happen. But let's move on.
Yeah, no, it's funny because I always take the bait. They always do those
You
like
know they're
little
gonna do it.
funky props, and I'm like, oh crap! Like Jack Golke 7+3s, ooh, or Zach Edey live bet 20 rebounds, 20 points. I'm like, well, he's already got 10 and 10. There's still a lot of time left. Sure enough, he doesn't get it, but I digress. But and on Dayton and Nevada, I want to talk about that a little bit. That's one of the craziest comebacks I've seen in a while in college basketball. Obviously, Nevada was leading for the longest time. Dayton looked like they were cooked. And what a comeback that was. If anyone took Nevada, I feel terrible for you. That should have been 10 easy points in your bracket challenge. They should have been moving on. And me with Dayton, I'm like, I feel like Christmas came early. That was a gift.
Yeah, that it was. I was on Nevada in two of my three brackets, so that one stung a little bit. But I mean, I had him losing around a 32 to Arizona anyways, so can't really complain too much.
Yeah, so moving on, we'll go to the South now. Houston took care of business early on. They beat Longwood. Everyone talking about that trying to be funny, like, oh, let's get grotesque here. Like, let's talk about all the dirty words. Longwood's gonna beat them. They didn't. They lost by 40. They got their woods tapped in. If we're gonna try to be funny guys here. And then obviously the Houston Texas A&M game was sick. I don't know if any of you guys watched it, but I was up. The freaking bounce pass to the center and he just flicks it up, bangs it home, and then overtime all of Houston's starting lineup basically fouls out, and then they get the skinny white kid who looks like one of us. Like, honestly, gave me Logan Schneider-esque vibes. Comes up, goes 1 and 2 at the line. Just you could see him like shaking. Total GPA booster. If we want to talk about a GPA booster, did any of you guys see that game?
I actually missed that one. I didn't see the ending of that one.
So
Surprisingly, even though I have Houston winning my bracket, but
yeah, because they were up by 10 with like 50 seconds left, and they just kept going 1 and 2 at the line, and Texas A&M was just pressing and fouling and just won by in that sense. And then it went to overtime. Houston prevailed, obviously, but crazy game. Then, pardon my take, bowl, JMU wins, and I'm like, maybe they got a chance. And then Duke just crushes them. Duke's looked very good. Zach, I know you want to talk about Duke in a little bit, but they have looked very dominant so far.
yeah, that team has impressed me a lot throughout this tournament. I'll get into them in a little bit when we go into the predictions for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, and freaking Wisconsin pisses me off because I had them in my Elite Eight. I totally bought into the hype. I saw they just beat Purdue and they seemed to have figured it out after struggling a lot in February. March came around. They looked great in the Big Ten tournament. Shame on me for trusting them. I should have looked at how inconsistent they are, but
Yeah, I mean they played. I mean they played a good Big Ten tournament. So I mean, I kind of bought in them a bit too. But I mean, we saw what Purdue did to them. So or what they did to Purdue. That's why I bought into them. But I mean, we saw what
yeah.
happened in their run. But
Yeah, and obviously I know you're a Michigan State fan. I don't really have a favorite team, but I will say I'm pretty biased towards Big Ten teams. I usually pick them winning and going far. Like I think I
yeah,
had all the Big Ten teams winning their first game.
yeah, I fall victim. I fall victim to that one too, pretty badly. But
And then NC State, who's on kind of a Cinderella-like run, they won 5 in a row to win the ACC tournament. Would not have been in the tournament if they didn't beat North Carolina to win it. They smacked Texas Tech, and then we get a cool overtime game against Oakland. Jack Golke, ever heard of him? He'll go
Mr.
down as a March
NIL,
Madness legend. I mean, how
future
sick was that,
accountant
fellas?
dropping. Dude, that was awesome to watch. You know, I was
I
pumped
heard
up
he,
watching that from the couch. I felt like I could drop 30 out there after watching that, dude.
for sure. I heard he got like, he only took like 5 or 6 dribbles all game. All of
The
his
guys,
all of his threes were just off a screen, just take the most difficult shots like you can take, and they're all just nailing.
dude, I forget what the actual number was, but he's only taken like 8 2-point shots this whole
Mhm.
season or something like that. That guy's a
Yeah, no,
sniper. He has a job. He comes off the bench and he does his job and he does it well.
Yeah, no, he only took 8. You're right. He only took 8 2-pointers all season. It's actually hilarious. He's just
Crazy.
knew his job well. I think I don't know. I feel like there's a chance he goes to the NBA. Like some team will sign him to the G League. A guy that can shoot like that, like obviously he's a liability on defense, but in the NBA it doesn't really
I mean,
matter.
if you're able to bring a guy off the bench and you plug someone off the bench to hit a couple threes, provide some sort of electricity, there's a role for him somewhere. You'd think. I mean, or at least an opportunity to fight for a role
Yeah.
somewhere. But we'll
Yeah,
see.
he's like one of the
where that ends
biggest
up going.
winners from March Madness. Like honestly, and you see him getting all the endorsement deals. I mean,
Yeah, the
good for
guy
him. It's
of-
funny. He's our age, like mine and Dave's age. So he's an older guy.
Yeah, you saw the one NIL deal of him filming it from like the hotel like ballroom or whatever it was, where he's just sitting there and all of his friends were telling him they're like, dude, this is awesome because it's so bad. But
Yeah, I did see that. And that's pretty close. How close is that to you? Because that's
how
in
close?
Michigan.
What are you talking about? Oakland?
Oh,
I think it's
yeah.
I don't know. I think it's like an hour and a half or so, but I'm not positive on that.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's in Michigan, which
Yeah, it's a Michigan school.
I
know a
had
couple
no
people that
idea.
go
I
there.
think most people probably thought it was in California.
Yeah, if I didn't go to school out in Michigan, I would have had zero clue that Oakland was out here.
So, yeah, and obviously Kentucky. I mean, that was a choke and a half when you have probably two of the most talented guys in the draft class, and you can't even get past Oakland when all they're doing is just giving it to the scrawny white kid who's chucking up threes. I mean, come on now. So
And
that's disappointing. Pop Tart, you homer, you biased Kentucky fan. See ya. But
Fun-
I
funny
don't know.
funny enough about that game, my dad actually picked Kentucky to win his bracket. So in my family bracket, see ya day one, see ya Colin, see ya Dad, and here we are, me and Jared standing, and we'll see what happens. We will have Houston though, so that really not that much fun.
What does the winner get for that pool?
Free dinner. They get to pick where dinner is, and the other three are paying for it. So I'll probably go to a steakhouse somewhere. Should be fun. Steak on Colin
yeah.
and steak on Colin and Lance. Sounds like fun.
There you go. Well, it's good Colin's working right now, so he can afford to pay for dinner.
Yeah, yep, that he can.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Who'd you take winning in that bracket?
I have Houston winning in that one too, which again, I am not the most confident in right now.
Yeah, but when it's only 4 people, it might not matter. It might come down
No.
to who's got the better bracket. Because
shit is
technically
true.
they're not dead. They're not dead at all with like in that sense, because there's
No.
a chance none of you guys have the winner.
Well, yeah, if Houston got bounced in OT, I mean, in last game, everyone would still be alive.
Oh, Jared
Surprise-
took Houston too?
Yeah, Jared has Houston too. No one took UConn because I didn't take UConn for the sole reason to be like, all right, I think all three of them are going to take UConn. I'm going to pick something different. And then no one picked UConn.
That's funny. That makes it more
Yeah.
interesting.
That it does, but
And then obviously Colorado, Florida, one of the highest scoring games ever in college basketball to not go to OT. They had 202 combined points and it didn't even go to OT.
what was the
Freaking nuts.
score- what was the score
102
of
to
that-
100.
what was the
I
score
know
of that Bama game though. That game was
that
crazy high
Bama game
scoring,
was
too.
also very high scoring. It was 109 to 96. So that was actually more high scoring. But I was just more so the fact that both teams put up 100 in regulation is crazy. But still, Bama Charleston, even more points. We've seen they're getting the NBA level, which is crazy, putting up over 200 points in college basketball. Obviously, Walter Clayton came down, hit a crazy deep three. And then Colorado, KJ Simpson, a guy who also should be going in the first round in this year's NBA draft. Look out for him. He comes down and hits one of those like bankers that bounces around, Kawhi Leonard-esque, and gets in. And then Colorado's moving on. Way to go, Freddie.
Yeah,
Lucas.
that was such an awesome shot. It was Kawhi Leonard-esque. Turns,
Mhm.
banks off the rim or bounces off the rim like 3 times. The fact that it was just 102 to 101 I don't think I've seen that in a bracket in so long.
Yeah,
Or
no,
maybe
crazy,
even ever, to be honest.
crazy high scoring. And then Marquette, they beat Colorado. So they move on to continue on with this chalky ass tournament so far. And then in the Midwest, Purdue has looked very dominant. They silenced all the haters that were saying, I don't know, is Purdue going to choke in the first round? No, they didn't even show flashes. One of the craziest covers also, I don't know if you guys realize, but they covered the spread. The whole entire game, it did not look like they were going to cover, and it came down with like 30 seconds left. The walk-on hits the 3 to cover the spread, and that was the only time in the game they were covering it. So that was definitely one of the craziest spread covers I've seen in a while. So I feel bad if you took Grambling. And then Utah State smoked TCU, then got smoked by them. Gonzaga beats McNeese. McNeese was another popular upset pick. Look, I should have looked more into it. They didn't play anybody all year. They went 30-3, but they got smoked. Gonzaga looks insane this year. I mean, granted, they beat a team in McNeese who doesn't play jack shit and a banged up Kansas team, but still, they look good. Samford, my darlings, they got fucked. I don't know if you guys saw that early on in the tournament. Guy had a clean chase down block, and the guy in Kansas decided he was just going to take a fall from grace and just fall down like a sack of potatoes, and he got the foul even though it was a clean block. And I was loving watching that whole entire game, just seeing them press the whole entire time. But so yeah, but Gonzaga moves on. They look good. Oregon looked good the whole entire tournament. That Oregon Creighton game, that was wild. I mean, Oregon just ran out of gas, but freaking Jermaine Cousinard, old South Carolina player, that was cool seeing him get the revenge. And obviously he dropped a lot of points this tournament. I know he set the Oregon record, and I believe the Pac-12 record for most points through first 2 games because he had 72, 40, and 32. So he seems to be a bucket, a guy I would say probably is going to get drafted now. I don't think he was on most mock drafts, or maybe a second rounder, but he might push the first round now, clearly showing he's a bucket. And then Creighton's obviously looked good. They actually ended up covering the spread, crazy enough, even though the game went into double overtime. They ended up winning by double digits, which is crazy to do when you go into double overtime. And then finally, Tennessee took care of the Cox. Texas took care of Colorado State. And then that Tennessee-Texas game was good. I think Tennessee's very fraudulent. I think they're going to get bounced by Creighton. I was not impressed. They're supposed to be this really good offensive team with like the best offensive player in the league in Connect, and he did not show up at all. They were lucky to get through that game.
Yeah,
I was gonna say,
also
go for
yeah,
it,
I
Zach.
also think Tennessee gets bounced by Creighton. I had them losing to Oregon actually. I had Oregon up in my Final Four. So that
I mean,
one hurts. I'll tell you that much.
And that would have been a good pick. Like Oregon should have won that game against Creighton. They just ran out of gas. I mean, the game should have never gone into overtime in the first place, and then they got to the point where they just had no gas anymore.
Yeah, that one I had Oregon going I was very fond of the Ducks, but
Me too. That's the move right there that like can save your bracket. Like I had him in the Elite Eight as well. Like that's what
that
sets
one
you
stinks.
apart. But
Well, last year it would have. This year, it turns out if you just went chalk, you would have been a good spot. But I mean,
yeah,
I'd never go chalk. I just can't. It's not ingrained in me. I ain't built like that, you know? Like it's such a lame move. Like the best brackets right now, like when all 1 through 4 seeds, and the one they got wrong is NC State. All right, but that basically wraps it up. So let's get into the Sweet 16, guys. Who do you guys have? Who do you guys have winning? We'll go through each matchup. We don't have to go crazy into detail. UConn, San Diego State. Who do you guys got winning?
I have UConn.
What about you, Dave and Garrett?
UConn, baby.
I'll also go
Easy
UConn.
dub. Easy
Yeah,
dub.
I think UConn wins, but I do think San Diego State covers the spread. It's 10.5 in favor of UConn, but it's a finals rematch. If San Diego State's gonna have a week to prepare, they played them last year. I just feel like everyone's gonna be like UConn's gonna keep rolling. They at some point they got to not cover the spread, right? Like at some point somebody's got to test UConn.
Dude,
What
I
is the
don't know.
spread?
They rolled through March
10.5.
last year, and I wouldn't surprise me one bit if they roll through this game again. I mean, dude, they're a wagon.
I know they are.
They're a
They are.
wagon, dude.
I can't see
But
them losing this, but I feel like at some point they got to get tested, but we'll see. Illinois, Iowa State, probably one of the hottest offensive teams right now versus, if not Houston, the best defensive team in the league right now. So this will be interesting. I mean, obviously Illinois, they're my pick to win it all. So I'd be a fool to not take them. Iowa State's favored by 1 point right now, so it's basically a pick 'em. I'm rolling with Illinois here. Terrence Shannon, he's a guy who's definitely improving his draft stock a lot. I mean, he's averaging 23.3 a game, so he's top. He's third in the country right now in points per game, and that could go up. He could get to number one. And then Damascus is a stud. Obviously, he transferred in this year, had a triple double in the first game, so he's a beast. And then Hawkins is nice as well. So I really hope the offense continues to roll here. I'm going with Illinois. Who do you guys got?
Yeah, I'm going to be drinking that Big Ten Kool-Aid, and I'm going to roll with Illinois as well.
Let's go. Garrett, Dave.
I'm gonna be fading you guys. I like Iowa State in this one. If it wasn't for North Carolina, they were gonna be my other team that I was gonna take to win it all. I love the way they played in their tournament, and I don't know, they haven't faced a team that's as high powered on offense as Illinois yet, but I don't know. I like what they got going. We'll see how it goes.
I'm rolling with G Money here.
Let's go.
If you look at the matchup predictor right now, what does that say there, Reagan? What does that look like to you?
And
It looks
keep on
like-
living off the matchup predictor, Dave.
It looks
and
like you're going.
That's
Looks like
why
you're being a chalky puck.
that,
You'll
that
continue.
shows
You'll
you.
continue to owe Vegas fucking thousands and
I was
thousands, bro.
gonna say
Fucking-
that's why I'm
fucking-
down thousands and thousands and thousands, because I go, oh, look at ESPN. The matchup predictors favoring
Why are
this
they an
team.
underdog? That's fucking ridiculous. ESPN says they're winning. Come on.
Yeah, it
Next-
seems like
next
a
thing
great
you know,
idea.
fucking
Use ESPN, a place that has a sports books matchup predictor.
Dude, you know what's crazy about that? They have them. All right, so they show their matchup predictor, and now on the ESPN app, if you go into a game, it has
Yeah.
like the bet ESPN to click on it while you're.
Yeah.
So you're gonna sit there and be like, "Oh, there's a 59% chance this team wins. Like, you should throw your money on them and bet it right here." Fuck
Hey, it's-
you.
Smart business. I mean, clearly, look at
I-
the guy. Look at Dave's explanation right there.
Yeah, I actually
Yeah.
just took them because I clicked my ESPN bet app, and now all of a sudden it's in my bet slip. So they're
Ugh.
making.
Yeah, I'm
money.
not a big fan that ESPN has a book now.
Nah, stick to reporting sports, ESPN. You know, you don't need to.
That's what I'm saying.
You need to.
Come
What do
on,
you
it should have
mean?
been called.
Gambling.
What do you
Disney
mean?
They want
That
to.
is-
They want to chip of the money.
That is genius marketing by them. I mean, my goodness, everybody checks the games on ESPN for the lines. I mean, the addicts check DraftKings, like myself, but I know that everyone else has.
Dave-
Where's the
ESPN.
integrity?
David, I'm not talking about from a business perspective here. I'm not talking about, oh, that was genius business for them. They're going to make so much money. I'm going back to what Big G said. Where the hell did your integrity go, ESPN? Fuck you. And fuck ESPN, but go on.
They took our integrity.
They took our integrity. Well said, Reagan.
Yeah, I guess I don't know, but I could care
Sorry, I
less.
went off
It's
a little bit of a tangent there, but
no, that's okay. It's easier for me to gamble just so I can look at the matchup predictor and then take the team that's got the highest percentage to win. So
I love it. All right, next up we got
Uh.
North Carolina, Alabama. Obviously this one will be interesting. Alabama, they don't play defense, but boy, do they score points. The line's North Carolina -4.5. I'm actually going to take Alabama here to win and cover. I just
Ooh.
feel like this is a sneaky upset game here. I feel like this might turn into a barn burner, and I don't know. I also just hate how inconsistent.
Are you sure about-
Wow.
are you sure about that?
I guess I might have to change to UNC. I don't know why the hell that's so. If it's a 4.5 point spread, I don't know why it's 50-50. But anyway,
because
I
they
just
want you to
hate how freaking inconsistent RJ Davis can get at times, and it does scare me. Like, don't get me wrong, when he's on, like he could drop like 30, but when he's cold, he does not stop shooting the ball. Like in that NC State loss, he just kept chucking it and chucking it and chucking it, and that's why they lost. So I'm afraid here if he's not going and doesn't want to play in a playmaker role, I think Alabama has the guys to just score, and they're just going to get themselves in a hole.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
seeing that matchup for Uzak and as a Sparty was pretty unfortunate because I slammed the living shit out of their spread and their money line. So, I mean, UNC
Sorry about
looked
that,
good
dude.
again. It's all your fault. You know, you should have done better. You know, you should have grown a foot and got on the court. But yeah, no, I mean, that was a heartbreaker. Honestly, though, like I don't think MSU looked as great in the second, but that's a different story. UNC is dominant. I'm gonna go UNC. I don't think Bama has a shot here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go UNC here too. I probably shouldn't say this, but I actually had Bama advancing to my Elite Eight and beating Michigan State in the Sweet 16. But after watching that UNC game, I mean, I know what you're saying about RJ Davis potentially going cold, but with other guys around him like Cormac Ryan, if he's hitting his threes, Baycott down low, Harrison Ingram, if those guys are able to step up if RJ Davis isn't able to perform, I have UNC getting the job done here.
Yeah, I mean, I will say Alabama does not. They don't have the big to guard Baycott, so that scares me. Sears is gonna Mark. At the end of the day, Mark Sears is just gonna have to take over. That's what's gonna have to happen for Bama to win. He's their best player. It all goes through him because Baycott's gonna have his way. They really don't have the big to defend him, so I do expect a big game from him, but they're gonna have to match his twos with threes.
Yeah, I just think Baycott's going to be a big problem for Bama on the boards too.
Yeah, I kind of love his over and rebounds, whatever it is, and
Yeah, I
points.
wonder what it's going to be. I wonder what that's going to be. But
It's
I,
probably
I
we could check right now. I could check
You
while
could
Garrett
probably just pull up
explains.
you could just probably pull up the ESPN app and check the match predictor, and right underneath there, it's gonna have his rebounds.
yeah,
I
imagine.
don't have Disney Bet or whatever the hell you want to call it.
Disney bet.
Yeah, true. Disney's promoting gambling now. Come on,
Yeah,
The
come on,
mouse.
Mike.
that's
Alright,
wild.
not
Now
back
that
to
is
the mouse.
wild.
No,
Yeah.
that is wild.
That is wild. Now we
What,
connected the
Mickey will
dots
be like,
about integrity.
Oh
Yeah,
I'm
god.
not
that's
giving
a-
no money to the mouse here, bro.
What, you don't want the mouse to be
That
dripped
greedy
out?
little mouse, dude. That's what.
Dude, they already
greedy
ruined
little
Star
mouse.
Wars. I'm not giving them my money. Them
That
too.
greedy little mouse. Yo, fuck that mouse. All
Fuck
my
that
boys
mouse,
hate
bro.
Mickey Mouse.
Fuck that mouse.
That
Yeah, should
mouse
we
is
move
gonna
to-
become a fat rat once he gets all that cheese.
Should we go to the Clemson game? I think this is a really good one.
Yeah, well, Baycott's 16.5 points and his rebound line is 11.5. I like the over on both, especially the
Wow.
boards. I think he might feast on the boards.
Wow.
He's gonna be eating
Yeah.
good. And then what's your face? Madeline Klein will probably hit him up after his fellow Outer Banks co-star. But all right, let's move on. Clemson, Arizona.
Dude,
I don't know why I
I-
didn't do this one first because this is the first game. But I guess I was
Clemson,
looking at perspective of the bracket.
they have that dog in them. 7.5 points is way too much. This is a super mega max whale unit for Drock. Don't care about the matchup predictor right here. What is it, 20%? Yeah. See, you know what? I'm not a fan of ESPN anymore because, poor little kids out there are getting gambling addictions even before they reach the age of 21. So, although, who's the guy? PJ Hall, dog. I forget who the other guy is on that team, but oh yeah, it's Ian. What is his last name? Can't find it.
It's like with an like Schmeckler or something.
Another dog.
Dog.
Schmeckle.
Dog. Clemson dog. I'm not going the money lines. I'm going the 7.5 points. I think it's a close game to the end of the second half. But I do think they cover.
Oh,
So
Shefflin. Are you talking about Ian Shefflin? All
yeah,
right.
yeah.
And then obviously they got Joe Girard, who was a beast at Syracuse and leading the nation in free throw percentage. So if they get up, Joe's coming in and hitting them free throws. He's shooting 95% this year, which is just stupid.
Yeah,
Stupid.
that's a big number.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, brother.
Although that
Uh,
Zona game was close with Dayton. My God, 78-68.
Yeah, I mean Dayton's a good team. Like they're always they
I mean,
put together some
Clemson to
good
beat
teams.
Baylor and then get matched up with Arizona. I don't know, man. Arizona's got a very easy, predictable, easy way to get to the Elite Eight, but I'm gonna go with Clemson. I'm gonna take Clemson to advance. Screw it. Hold the points, money line. Clemson over Arizona.
I'm gonna keep mine a lot shorter here. I'm going with straight chalk. Sorry, Drock. Give me Arizona next.
I'm gonna be the big brain here. I'm going Arizona to cover and win strictly because of the storyline. I know before I was saying I kind of like Clemson, but I thought more about it. What's better for ratings? I'm done not buying into the ratings bullshit. Whenever you see a storyline like this, just take it. Just buy into it because I'm sure it's got a higher hit rate than not. Take the storyline always. And I'm very excited to see how Arizona's center and Ballo does against obviously Clemson's stud center, their best player in PJ Hall. So I'm excited for that matchup as well.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Who you got, Gary?
I'm not.
I'll take the points on Clemson, but
Yeah.
I'll ride your side. Arizona probably rolls here, but 7.5. I do like that number for them.
All right.
Too many.
Let's
Too
move on to
many.
Friday. Marquette, NC State. Marquette is 6.5 point favorites. I'm taking Marquette here to win and cover. I just think at this point, as crazy it is to say, like NC State, I think they played 7 games in 11 days was the stat. I think the fact that they're getting all this rest now is going to hurt them. Like And that's crazy to say, but I feel like they're going to lose all their mojo, and I think Marquette just might roll here. And obviously, that's just another week that Tyler Kolek's even more healthy. I mean, that guy is a stud. He's the driving force behind why they got there. I mean, he averaging 15 points a game, but 8 assists, and then for college, 8 assists. That's like unheard of. He's just a wizard with the ball in his hand. So I have high expectations here. They're my other final team, and I think they get it done here. What do you guys think?
Who's from
Yeah,
NC
I've been with Marquette in the Elite Eight since the beginning of the tournament, so I feel pretty bad to switch up now. I'm going to go with Marquette.
which one of your boys, Reagan, goes to NC State?
Curly, your boy.
I mean my boy. Curly, I'm riding with you, my boy. I'm taking 6.5. Scratch them advancing. I just think again, Marquette coming into the tournament thinking that they could just roll easily into further on. You know what? I'm going NC State. Curly, hit me up. Let's watch it together, okay? We're gonna see them boys roll.
Dave's flying out on the Around the Felt business account, putting on the business account, flying down to NC State to watch with Kyle and all the other fellow Wolfpack members.
Yeah, we have so much money in that account. My God, I can't even handle it. So many people are buying our hoodies.
Yeah. Garrett, what do you got?
I'm gonna take NC State as well. Not betting with my brain here, but I've just been picking them in my bracket, so I want to see them keep going. Obviously, they're probably not going to win, but I'm going to be with Dave on this one.
Oh yeah, Curly would be proud of you boys. All right, next up, Gonzaga versus Purdue. Purdue is 5.5-point favorites. Call me freaking crazy. I'm taking Gonzaga to win here, and obviously they're going to cover the spread if they're going to win. I love the way they're playing right now, and don't get me wrong, Purdue's playing great also. They have had no hiccups to this point, but I think this is a step up in competition for them. Where Gonzaga, they just beat a Kansas team while injured, but I'm just excited. Graham Ike having a great season. Obviously, Nemhard, a guy that came from Marquette, who's been there before, done that. Hickman, Watson. I mean, they got, and Huff is at 9.5. Greg, they got a lot of scorers on this team. I mean, they have 6 guys averaging over 9 points a game. I love it. They can score the ball. Biggest thing is, can you stop Zach Edey? And obviously, Graham Ike, their center, 6'9". He's undersized. It's going to be tough for him to guard Edey, but he's got to not get in foul trouble. He loves to foul. There's a reason he only plays 24 minutes a game, because he gets in foul trouble quickly. So that will be the deciding factor. If they're able to get him into foul trouble early, which is easy with Zach Edey, they blow the whistle a lot. Granted, he does get fouled a lot. I mean, at the end of the day, how else are you supposed to stop that bohemian of a man? But yeah, that's the deciding factor of Ike. I don't know how to pronounce it, but you guys know what I'm talking about. That'll be the deciding factors if he gets in foul trouble or not. If he does, I think Purdue rolls and covers. If he is able to stay out of foul trouble, I think Gonzaga can pull off the upset.
I'm gonna stick with the Big Ten Kool-Aid here and ride with Zach Edey and Purdue. Dude, as much as I hate that guy, as he's dominated my Spartans for years now. Once you find like a 7'4" big in college basketball with any remote bit of skill, god damn, they are dominant. And that guy is dominant, and therefore, like I said, I'm riding with Purdue.
Fair enough. Garrett, Dave, when you want to take the floor?
No, Zach pretty much hit it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm riding with the Big Ten gate. What did you say?
All right. You're both taking them to cover too?
What's the spread?
5.5.
I'll take Purdue minus 5.5. I'll take that.
Same with you, Garrett and Dave.
Yeah.
Dave?
Yeah, I'll take Purdue to roll.
All right, sounds good. All right, next up, we got Duke versus Houston. This game is very, very interesting to me, because obviously Duke is on a whole nother level right now. Houston almost had that hiccup to Texas A&M and was eliminated. I don't know. I feel like no matter what I do here, I'm going to be wrong, because I feel like if I take Duke money line, it's going to be the Houston show where Duke's offense is nowhere to be found and Houston's playing their brand of ball and they're not able to do anything. Where on the other hand, I take Houston and it's like, oh, we see the same Duke team that just lit up JMU and was offensive galore. But I'm going to ride with Houston here. They're the higher seed. I think they're going to play their physical brand of basketball. I think Filipowski is soft as crap, or Sharman, so soft. I mean, he in my opinion, he's the deciding factor. He is their best player, so he needs to step up and show why he's their best player. But I'm gonna roll with Houston here. I think that Duke will actually cover the 4.5. I think it's gonna be very close and come down to the wire with free throws at the end, but I think they'll get it on the hook. But I think Houston wins here.
Yeah, so I mean, as you guys know, I initially picked Houston to win this tournament, but let me talk a little bit about Duke here. I don't believe Duke is a real 4 seed. Talent-wise, they can go out and compete with any team in the country. In my opinion, they're really more like a 2 to 3 seed, and I think through 2 games, they've proven that so far. When Filipowski is on, it will be very hard for anybody to beat this team. I mean, that guy finds ways to contribute everywhere. You're looking at round 1 matchup against Vermont. The guy didn't even make a field goal, but he still found a way to impact the game on the boards. Then you look at Jared McCain. I mean, he looks like he's been in college for more than 2 days now. I mean, he's been playing lights out. He's been playing like a top 10 pick. I mean, you saw what he did against JMU. He's been shooting 58% from beyond the arc this tournament. Then you go to Jeremy Roach. I mean, that guy is one hell of a leader for the Blue Devils. I mean, the senior's been stuffing the stat sheet, putting up 14.5 points per game this tournament. And with all that being said, I have TikTok McCain and the Blue Devils winning this game and dancing all the way until April 8th, where they fall to the back-to-back champions, UConn Huskies.
Wow. I mean, hey, I respect it. That's bold, but you know what? You're not being biased in the slightest because you took Houston, so you're putting your bracket aside and just going with what you're seeing. So I do respect that. Garrett, Dave, what do you guys got?
Everything Zach just said, I mean, spot on. Since the Blue Devils are in my blood, I'm gonna rock with it. Zach said it perfectly, and guess what? They're not gonna lose. No, they're gonna lose to UConn in the championship game. So, I mean, unfortunately, I have to say that as the Blue Devils are in my blood. But hey, listen, Zach said very well. Speaking into existence, I'm rocking with the Blue Devils.
What about you, Garrett?
Yeah, I mean, I would have been more confident with Houston if they didn't, like you said, dude, they barely won last game. They the fact that they're a 1 seed and they had to go into overtime before they even got to the Sweet 16, that would scare me a little bit. And I don't know. I think Zach's been talking me into it as well. I think I'll go Duke here. Hopefully we bust a lot of brackets too.
Yeah, obviously none of the other 1 seeds really had a sweat. I mean, I guess North Carolina was down early, but they were leading by halftime. So yeah, they were the only 1 seed to even get tested at this point. So I get that aspect of it. It'll be interesting. That game's definitely one of the tougher ones because Duke's on fire right now. But all right, and then the last game of the Sweet 16, we have Marquette, or I'm sorry, not Marquette, Creighton versus Tennessee. I'm going Creighton here. I really don't like what I saw from Tennessee. Obviously, both teams just came off of very close games, but at the end of the day, Tennessee, you were supposed to be one of the better offensive teams. Connect really didn't. I didn't like. He's supposed to be the best scorer in the country, and he shot 27% from the field. Like, it's one thing to shoot 50% against St. Peter's, but when you get into the next round, you're shooting 27% from the field. That can't happen. 5 of 18. If he plays like that, Creighton's going to roll here. So he needs to have a big game here for them to even have a chance. And on the Creighton side of things, like, you know what? Yeah, maybe you shouldn't have won that game against Oregon, but you did. I love Sharman and Alexander, and obviously, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but Kalkbrenner, I think that's how you Kalkbrenner, the big center. So, and the fact that those 3 guys are averaging over 17 a game is unheard of also. I mean, that's freaking nuts. And they get an 11-point score on Ashworth. So this team can score the freaking basketball. I definitely think the over is a mortal lock. But yeah, I'm going Creighton here. And obviously if I'm going Creighton, they're covering. So I'm curious, what do you guys got?
Yeah, this one's tough to me. I mean, I initially had Oregon winning. I mean, I had them beating Creighton and then beating Tennessee in this round. I think you're pretty spot on. I mean, I'm not a big fan of what I saw from Tennessee in that Texas game. Makes me want to lean Creighton, but I'm going to go Tennessee.
I'm gonna go Creighton on this one. I'm also gonna take the over. I'm looking at now over 143.5. Like you said, and having three guys averaging over 17, that you're right, that's kind of unheard of. If these guys can get hot together, I mean, we could see a very high scoring game.
Yeah, plus Creighton's not nearly the defensive team that Texas is. I'm not going to discredit Texas. They're good defensively. They shot down Colorado State too early on as well. So I'm not going to discredit them, but still, if you're Tennessee, you're supposed to be one of the best offensive teams in the country. I'd like to see you put up more than 62 points in the second round.
Yeah, I'm
Dave,
with
what do
you.
you got?
It's at three levels too. Like they have a big man who's doing that as well. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they
if one of your guards gets cold, you
Yeah.
can rely on your big.
That's a very good factor. So, Dave, what do you
And
got?
I don't think there's anything
Creighton.
more important in college basketball than a big two. So
No explanation, Creighton. Next.
All right, so that is the Sweet 16. What I will do at this point is just tell me who you got making it out of the Final Four, and then from there, who's winning the championship and who are they beating. So I'll start with mine. My Final Four, so obviously I got to go with my team, Illinois. I mean, what kind of hypocrite would I be if I'm switching it up right now? I got to trust my gut from the start. So I got Illinois making it out. Then I got Arizona making it out. Then I got Houston. Or no, I'm not Houston. I'm sorry. I got Marquette. And then finally, I got Creighton. And then in my final four, I have Marquette over Creighton in a Big East battle. And then I got Illinois over Arizona. And then Illinois over Marquette. I just got to stick to my gut. I took Illinois over Marquette at the start. So I'm just going to stick with what I got for now. Hopefully, I'm right. If I'm wrong, shame on me.
yeah, so I'm gonna have UConn coming out of the East. Coming out of the West, I'm gonna have North Carolina. I'm gonna have UConn beating UNC. Out of the South, I have the Blue Devils, who will beat Purdue in the Final Four to go to the championship and ultimately lose to UConn.
Yeah, I got UConn from the East. Who else did I have? Clemson. Oh my gosh. Clemson beating Arizona. Jesus. And then I got the Blue Devils and Creighton. And then in my final four, I had Creighton or Duke beating Creighton and then UConn beating Arizona. And then from obviously we all know Drock's winner is the square pick at UConn. So
Garrett, what do you got?
Yeah, so to start in the East, I have Iowa State over UConn. Be awesome to see. I have Duke over NC State. Then UNC over Arizona. Purdue over Creighton. I'm gonna take North Carolina to come out there over Iowa State. And then I think I'm gonna go Purdue over Houston. I mean Duke, my bad. Purdue over, so we're getting a Purdue UNC final for me. And I'll
And
take
UNC
UNC to
winning.
win. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting, boys. I love this tournament. I love the fact that my bracket's still alive. I'm sure you guys feel the same way. It's nice getting to this point. I have a lot more interest in the tournament than I probably would if Illinois had lost in the first two rounds. I see why Colin didn't want to join us tonight. You know, it's not as interesting to talk when your team gets eliminated in the first round, but I'm excited. I mean, come on. We get two games at 7 o'clock if you're on the East Coast, and then another two at 10, and then the same thing on Friday. And then Saturday we'll get two, and Sunday we'll get two. So we'll have some games all 4 days again. And then, hey, we'll do it again the following Saturday and Monday. So we still got some more games for the next couple weeks, and I love it.
Yeah, let's go, boys. There's not too much in this world that's better than March Madness. So let's enjoy it while it's here before we have to wait another 12 months for it to come around again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, guys. Well, Garrett, Zach, thanks for hopping on with us tonight. There'll be more podcasts. We're going to be doing an NFL mock draft soon, so I know you're both planning on joining us for that. We have a golf event coming up over the summer, so we're almost done hashing out all the details. So check out on social media for more to follow with that. If you're following us on Instagram, like I said, few sweatshirts left. So if you want one, hit up one of us. We'd love to sell it to you. And finally, if you're listening at this point, make sure you're following us on all the different platforms. It helps us grow. So we really appreciate it all. But thanks again for coming on, guys. And I'm ready to go home and wrap it up.
Ye-
Or I am home. I'm ready to go to bed.